And today we take it even more further. For those who have joined us new, let me introduce myself. I am Shishti Srivastava, the host for today's event, and I welcome you all to HackSpace. Get ready for new learnings, fresh challenges, and another day of building, exploring, and pushing your skills to the next level. Let's make day 6 even more impactful. Before diving into it, I would like to share a short glimpse of HackSpace. HackSpace is a next gen online innovation arena where coders, designers, builders, and tech enthusiasts come together to learn, experiment, and create. It brings students, mentors, and industry experts under one roof through live sessions, hands on challenges, real world problem statements, and Discord activities. Whether you're exploring blockchain, diving into generative AI, or simply leveling up your skills, Hackspace gives you a perfect mix of learning, building, and community energy. Now, starting with our first session for the blockchain track, we are happy to have a familiar and insightful mentor joining us once again. Please welcome back Mr. Deepak Kagre, sir. As you may recall, he works across blockchain, AI, and self sovereign identity with expertise in digital identity, tokenomics, and cybersecurity. His interests also extend to carbon credits and metaverse, bringing a broad and future focused perspective to blockchain technology. Sir, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. You can start with the session.
Thank you so much. You can see my presentation, right? Hello.
Not now, sir. It's not visible.
Just one second. Let me share the presentation. Just give me a second.
Okay. Okay.
You can see now, right?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. Fine. Yeah. So let's start. Hope you all can see the presentation, and I hope you all have exciting learning session in the last 5 days, where LevelUp has been able to set up some good sessions with a lot of mentors from the industry who have shared knowledge across blockchain AI, Gen AI, SSI, blockchain use cases. Today we are talking about another uh, use case of blockchain and its governance model, which is the DAO, which is also called decentralized autonomous organization, and governance models around it. It's a very unique model. I like this model because it beats a lot of bottlenecks in the centralized ecosystem. And if this is built, any use case is built, or any enterprise or any community idea is built properly and through a proper uh, 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 setup, right? Governance models. This will be one of the largest entities which can help all the users, end users, benefit a lot. It can grow as big as, if you look at as from a cooperative movement, the biggest cooperative movement in India is Amul. We are all consumers of Amul dairy products, but it is not an enterprise. It's not a private limited. It's not a public entity, public unit, public services unit. It is a cooperative unit. DAO is something similar. It's a community driven. It is driven by uh, uh, community people. It's voted by the members of the community. So it has a lot of uh, benefits. It has a lot of empowerment which gives to drive a business case or an idea for a large scale benefit of the community and the users. So why DAO matters basically. Today, imagine a company which does not have a CEO. What if decisions were made by computer codes with like smart contracts and not bosses? What if you could go on Netflix with millions of strangers and vote on every business decision? We'll also walk through a use case with the current Indian scenario, what happened in the last couple of weeks. Welcome to DAOs, the organization that run themselves. It is driven by the code, driven by the community. Why it matters is the world is moving from institution based to trust, protocol based trust. So basically, today all organizations are based or institutionalized, whether it's an university, enterprise, government, or any infrastructure for that matter, business infrastructure. I mean, they are all institution based, enterprise based. Uh, there are some challenges which are having in the institutions. Organizations are becoming borderless because which means your global entire globe is a market, and digital first because of the digital transformation, mobile based e-commerce, everything has become digital. For example, your UPI, your FASTag, your DigiLocker, your DigiYatra, it's all become digital first. We are not even touching the rupee most of the times. It is asset light. It does not have physical infrastructure. When it becomes digital, you don't need to go to a bank. Bank does not need to have a physical infrastructure. It can be run on a mobile application like the neo banks are doing. It is community driven. Traditional governance struggles with speed, transparency, and global participation because of this internal challenges, the speed of decision making, transparency. So, traditional organizations have their own struggles. DAO is not a crypto experiment, it's an institutional innovation. DAO, which means Internet Native Organization. What is a DAO? It comes from the previous slide. It is an internet native organization. It is governed by code, tokens, and community. DAO means decentralized autonomous organization. An organization governed by code, tokens, and collective decision making. Rules are encoded in smart contracts. Decisions executed on chain, not by executives behind closed doors. Core characteristics of DAO: no central authority, transparent rules, global participation, programmable governance, and trust minimized and logic maximized. So basically, this is this cuts across borders. If you have any idea and if you are building a community around you, which does not have any geographical borders, anybody from anywhere who likes the idea, who likes the community activities can join from anywhere. That's the beauty of it all. And all the rules are laid up, and everybody who joins becomes a member. They go through the rules of the community, and all the participation based on your skill set and based on your interest, intensity. You can participate and you can earn tokens, you can get rewards, you can vote for those decisions, you can be accountable, you can lead for those activities. So that opens up a lot of opportunities for talented people, like-minded people. NGOs which have unique use cases can adopt for it all. Student communities can uh, go cross border and create their own communities and discuss about various subjects and various challenges the students are facing, and how you can share knowledge, skill sets, opportunities. This can be one of the examples. We look at some of the examples as we go through. Traditional organization was a DAO organization. In a traditional organization, you have a board, you have a CEO, CXO, CFO. All these CXOs are present in addition to the board. And in a DAO, it is a community. It can be community of like-minded people, students, social interest, or any other idea which is unique, where people are interested to drive that. Decision speed, it is very slow in a traditional manner because it has to go through hierarchy, it has to get us approval, and everybody has to agree. Here it is on chain, it is fast because it's basically on voting, and every member who's part of the community, based on their activities and tokens, they have the voting rights. Transparency, it is limited. So most of the time it is radical in DAO. Trust model, institutional, it is based on cryptographic. Geography, jurisdiction bound. DAO is borderless. Execution, it is all manual by people, or semi-annual with automation. And in DAO, it is completely automated. So that's the beauty of a decentralized autonomous organization, where DAO fits best is decentralized finance, digital identity, and digital public infrastructure, where you can automate a lot of processes through AI, and a lot of decision making can be done on voting with the community. Climate and carbon markets, where people are working on sustainable products, sustainable processes, where you have a common goal of reducing carbon emissions, a common goal of being sustainable or environmental friendly, right? So those are some of the communities which can help reduce the carbon emissions, and that's how climate and carbon markets are a good fit for DAOs. Digital commons and open source. Basically, all open source products are community driven and community led. So, if you have any ideas to improve the code, improve the features, you can always post it on the group, and community would vote for it, and then you can build the code and submit so that the others can make benefit of the code. It's a creators or and community economic. Basically, it's a creator economy. If you have a idea, if you have something to share, you can always share it with communities. And investment collective, supply chain consortiums, these are some of the examples. If coordination is greater than hierarchy, that is when a DAO wins. Let's understand what this means. So, what do we mean by hierarchy? Hierarchy means it has got a authority, is clear, decisions are predictable, execution needs control, scale is limited and local. Examples: army command structures. You have a hierarchy. Once the orders are given, it has to be followed to the last level, the lowest level. There is no, the order cannot be reversed, and there's no consensus, there's no voting, nothing. Once the order comes, you just have to follow. Manufacturing plant, because there is a process, there is uh, a method in this whole process. So whatever orders comes, whatever processes you are following, you need to just continue that. Traditional banks, they follow traditional their own process. Government departments have their own hierarchical systems, and multiple authorities, multiple decision makers. Public sector units, they also are largely hierarchical structure, and they are not swift in making any decisions. To make any small change, you will have to run through a lot of documentation. Papers have to be signed by multiple people. Even for a small change in the organization, small travel approval, there's a lot of cumbersome activities which is not value added, basically, which just kills time. So the strength is control and accountability. It does not mean traditional models do not have are weak, but they are needed in certain ecosystems, because like armed forces, medical operations, or manufacturing, right? So you need to have controls where you are accountable and responsible. And in terms of evacuation uh, exercises, it is all led by command. So there you need to have the hierarchy part. and it is slow and opaque and rigid, and that's the uh, hindsight of it. So when what do we mean by coordination? Coordination is all about aligning many independent actors, managing incentives, not orders, rapid collective decision making, global participation without trust assumptions. Examples: open source software, where you can plug in and you can use these applications. If you have anything to contribute to the open source community, you can always go and do that. DeFi protocols, climate action networks, creator economies, these are some of the a lot of coordination happens within the members, right? And where you agree, where you consent, and based on that you quickly swiftly move to the decision. Here the advantage is speed, adaptability, innovation, and weaknesses can be chaotic without governance. If your governance models are not structured and defined and organized, it can be chaotic, it can lead to failure. So that's when we say coordination is more than hierarchy, that is when a typical DAO wins. So famous DAO implementations are MakerDAO. MakerDAO is a decentralized central bank that uses on-chain governance to issue and manage DAI. DAI is the currency of the MakerDAO stablecoin, without relying on a single on any single authority. Uniswap DAO is another DAO which is very famous. Uniswap governs the world's leading decentralized exchange, enabling the community to control protocol upgrades, fees, treasury through token based on chain voting. So basically, if Uniswap wants to increase the fees of a transaction, so it is all community driven, it is protocol based, and then if the members agree to that, so then if it is approved, the transaction fees can be increased for the benefit of the users. Or if you want to add any feature to the protocol, you can introduce through votings, and everybody has agreed to that, so then you can introduce those features. Aragon is another DAO, which is an infrastructure platform that lets communities create, manage, and govern decentralized organization, built-in voting, and treasury and governance tools without needing to code from the scratch. So basically, you can use some of these protocols. So one view of these DAOs, if I have to say, MakerDAO, its primary role is financial governance, decentralized monetary systems. You don't need an RBI to run this ecosystem. That's what it means. Basically, it's community driven. Uniswap is a protocol governance, user governed global exchange, also decentralized exchange. Organize Aragon is governance infrastructure, build and manage DAOs easily. You can build your own DAOs and manage them easily. So you can use the Aragon infrastructure. MakerDAOs proves money can be governed by communities. Uniswap proves markets can be governed by users, and Aragon proves governance itself can be modular and programmable. So let's look at an example. An airline DAO. Recently, what happened in India is we all know that Indigo uh, we had a chaos created by Indigo. Not failure of aviation; it was failure of typical governance structure. Current airline governance models: centralized decision making, profit maximization, maximum incentives, weak passenger representation, opaque operation decisions, limited accountability during disruptions. When one or two players dominate, scheduled decision priorities cost are not resilience. Fleet grounding creates cascading failures. Passengers have zero voice. They have no representation basically. Regulators react after the damage. That's what exactly happened in the Indian scenario, where DGCA came in later, the aviation minister came in later. By the time it had created a huge disruption and ruckus among the flight passengers. So many flights were cancelled. So many people who had booked their tickets via Indigo I had to miss marriages, functions, and critical meetings. So those 4 5 days were very difficult. Even I had to go through that. Luckily, by the time I had already booked my ticket on Indigo, so I was not sure whether I'm going to fly back from Bangalore to Mumbai. But by the time my dates came in, uh, most of the things were sorted out, and I was able to fly. Things were back to normal. So, but this gives you a clear indication how the traditional governance can fail if the centralized decision making is not organized. It's not oriented towards the customer or passengers. So the the people who are going to be affected are the passengers, and passengers are not able to meet the board. Basically, that's what happened, right? So, and they were only facing uh, the front line, and front line had no authority. They were just relying on the orders of the management. So the core idea, airline as a coordinated network, not as a corporate silo. Airlines are coordination problems, not command and control problems. Basically, they must coordinate with pilots, aircraft availability, airports, regulators, passengers, weather and maintenance data, and pricing demand signals. Hierarchy is too slow. DAO's style governance is faster, transparent, and incentive aligned. So, airline as a protocol, if we look at it, operation is still professional and regulated. Governance can be decentralized and transparent. Incentives aligned and across stakeholders. Now, how a DAO airline would work, if you look at it, ownership and stakeholders as token holders. DAO tokens are held by passengers, frequent flyers, pilots and crew, aircraft leasers, and ground staff partners and strategic investors. Tokens does not mean speculation here. Tokens means governance rights and accountability. So basically, what DAO controls is the DAO does not fly planes; it governs the decision. So DAO governed areas, route allocation and capacity planning, slot usage optimization, consistency, and compensation triggers, fleet expansion priorities, service level standards. So all these are already pre-programmed, pre-decided, and and pre-agreed. And so whenever a situation happens, so it is all automatically driven by smart contracts and algorithms, and there is no human interference which is required. And the community has already formed these rules and regulations. In scenario one, this is how it will work. Scenario two, this is how it will work. So it is already taken care of all of them. So there is no issue of looking at any chaos if managed properly. Professional management executes, DAO decides the policy. Crisis scenario, however, DAO prevents chaos situation. Multiple aircraft grounded, peak travel demand, risk of mass cancellations. Traditional model, internal decision, cost first approach, minimal disclosure, and then reactive regulatory intervention. This is how the typical current scenario works. If it is a DAO model, pre approved on chain consistency policies, automatic triggers, load sharing with partner airlines. If I had to ground some of my aircrafts, I've already agreed with my partner airlines. In such a situation, if you have any seats, I will pass on the revenue and allocate the passengers, so that the passengers should not, at the end of the day, get stressed out, right? Immediate passenger compensation and priority routing rules. Real-time transparency dashboard. Passengers representatives vote on emergency actions. Chaos is reduced because rules are pre-agreed and automated. So that's the beauty of DAO. And why this reduces monopoly abuse is basically, in traditional airline, profit is first, shareholder only can vote, and opaque and reactive and regulatory, versus airline, there is always a conflict. It is resilience first, multi-stakeholder, and transparent. It is rule based and regulator plus airline. It is not versus. Both have to work together. Regulatory reality, this is not deregulation. We are not saying we are deregulating or we are removing the regulator from the ecosystem. Even the DGCA or Ministry of Civil Aviation, they remain mandatory, they are important. Safety licensing audits, they don't change. Safety, security, everything remains same. DAO governs economic and service decision. Similar to cooperative banks, power grid consortiums, telecom infrastructure sharing. These are some things, other use cases which can also be a DAO ecosystem. India specific opportunity, if you look at it, this model fits in India uniquely. Large domestic demand because there's a lot of demand for airlines, aircrafts, and there's a lot of people who are now using aviation sector for airlines for flying, and you have increasing number of private owners who are owning the airlines today, aircrafts today, and helicopters. And we are also going to see small aircrafts coming into India by 2028 or 2030. The earliest I think is coming around 27, 28. IIT Madras startup, the e-planes, they are building, they are coming with 800 small aircrafts. So around 2028 or 2030, during this period, you will see a lot of small aircrafts flying. So this becomes a good uh, commutation between two districts, where you can travel faster using these small aircrafts. Especially, this will help in emergency evacuation whenever you need to transfer a patient from one hospital to another. So, in the current structure, it is very cumbersome, it's very costly because the aircrafts are so costly. This might reduce the cost of the transfer also. So, positioning India's first stakeholder governed regional airline protocol. This is a wonderful opportunity for somebody to start on a DAO model. A DAO based airline replaces opaque monopoly decisions with transparent rule based multi stakeholder governance, making aviations more resilient, fair, and passenger centric. So, DAO won't replace airlines used or won't bypass regulation. DAO will replace opaque decision making. DAO works best for regional airlines, shared fleets, crisis and governance, slot and capacity coordination. Challenges of DAO: voter apathy, whale dominance, and regulatory uncertainty. Whale dominance is if I have a large shares, large number of tokens, I can use all my tokens and I can vote. That is some of the challenges, but there are ways to address it. It does not mean that I have the largest number of tokens. I can vote. I get all the votes, the maximum number of votes. So there is a quadratic voting system, which I will explain later. Why governance matters? Governance matters because you need decision clarity. You need to solve conflicts. It has to be sustainable. DAO governance models are based on token based, quadratic voting, reputation based, and liquid democracy. So, hybrid governance will have both committees, tokens, and reputation. Role of AI in DAOs: proposal analysis, risk scoring, fraud detection. These are some of the areas which AI can help and speed up the whole process. Autonomous institutions and self optimizing governance. This is the future of AI and DAO. Key takeaways: governance is the innovation, and AI is the scalability layer here. So, closing thought: the future institutions will be programmable and participatory. Till here, I've just finished the concept of DAO and the DAO governance models and various DAOs which you have seen. We've also seen use case of an airline, what happened recently in India, and how a DAO governance system can help resolve these kind of situations. There are some of those intricacies in DAO which I would like to now pose an additional content. I thought my time is limited, so I had prepared this slides. I still have time for another 10-15 minutes, I guess. So I will run through these slides, and then let's have, if you have any questions, we can take. So let's understand what we mean by quadratic voting. So quadratic voting allows participants to buy multiple votes, but the cost of votes increases quadratically, making the influence expensive and balanced. If I do my votes based on my tokens or my shares, which I have 1:1, so then if I have, if couple of people uh, have large number of tokens, and if they all want to drive their own decision, it is much easier in the current traditional system. But in a quadratic voting, what happens is, if I have one vote, it will cost me one token. If I have to do two votes, then it will cost me two tokens, three votes, nine tokens. The more votes I want to vote, I need to spend more tokens, and then which means I need to buy so many tokens. And so nobody would, probably people can buy to a limited number of tokens, because if you want to vote 100, so you'll have to buy 10,000 tokens, if you see the quadratic equation. So it is not easy. And cost becomes the square of the number. This means you can vote more if you care more, but influence becomes rapidly expensive. So why quadratic voting is needed? Traditional system failed because one token, one vote, which means the whales dominate. And in one person, one vote ignores intensity of preference. Quadratic voting balances fairness, preference of strength, and minority protection. Right. So this is the beauty of quadratic voting. And scenario DAO deciding between two proposals. Let's say there's a proposal A and proposal B, saying one proposal is improve customer support, the other proposal says expand to new market. So voter behavior. So Amar strongly wants proposal A, buys three votes, and it costs him nine tokens. Akbar mildly prefers proposal B, buys one vote, costs one. Anthony slightly prefers B, buys one vote, and costs one token. So the result is proposal A has three votes, and proposal two has two. B has two votes. So proposal A wins because Amar had strong uh, intensity for that proposal. So that is how the quadratic voting also works, and the voting in the DAO ecosystem works. One powerful analogy of quadratic voting means voting is like pricing passion. If you care a lot, you can show it, but you must pay proportionally more. So when not to use quadratic voting, avoid when it's in case of emergency decisions are needed. Voters don't understand the system, and identity is weak. Executive takeaway: quadratic voting is a governance innovation that converts passion into measurable signal without letting money hijack democracy. So basically, it does not mean if I have money, I can control the ecosystem. So there is a process where you can participate, and that is all predefined. So role of, now let's look at role of artificial intelligence in DAOs. They play a major role with today. AI is everywhere. All of us know that, and AI is also going to play a significant role in DAO's ecosystem. Why we need AI? The pure DAOs face real limitations, because when you run a large community, there are too many ideas, too many proposals, and voter fatigue, low quality decisions, low consensus, and you have whale or civil manipulation, and humans alone do not scale governance. And AI reduces coordination cost, which is the biggest enemy of DAOs. And AI as the governance operating system, AI acts across the entire DAO life cycle, not just voting. So proposals, deliberations, voting, execution, monitoring, and learning and improvement. AI can enhance every step here. So that's the role which the AI can help in the DAO process. So, proposal intelligence, how AI works. So, summarizes long proposals, detects if there is a similar or duplicate proposal, flags risky or low quality proposals, suggests improvements. Impact, which means better proposals are prioritized, less noise, faster decision making. AI makes becomes first filter, humans make the final call. So basically, when it is very difficult if a human is to go through all the proposals, because everybody has to read through the finer prints and understand. We can use AI to first filter all those proposals to a summary for humans to read through, and based on the filtered proposals which AI is suggesting, then humans can get into a decision making and community based, and they can take a final call which proposals are to be prioritized. Voter assistant education. What AI does explains the proposal in simple language, shows pros and cons based on user profile, simulates outcomes of voting choices. Impact higher voter participation, more informed voting, reduced governance fatigue. Fairness and fairness and manipulation detection. What AI does detects vote buying patterns, flags any if there is any pale dominance there, and should we intervene and revisit the whole the voting process. And then because it becomes one-sided if you have whales who are going to vote for a decision making. So identify cerebral attacks, monitors abnormal behavior. So impact stronger governance integrity, and reduces capture by powerful actors. So AI becomes a guardian of uh, fairness basically. And then treasury and risk management. What AI does monitors treasury health, predicts cash flow risks, and optimizes fund allocation, recommends diversification. Impact it is financial stability, sustainability, sorry, data driven budgeting, reduced human bias. So humans are biased, but AI is not, because it works on a pattern and it follows the algorithm, right? Just give me a minute. Sorry. Autonomous execution via AI agents. Why agents can do automatically execute DAO approved rules, manage routine operations, trigger emergency actions, enforce governance policies. So the AI agents are becoming very popular, and the role of AI agents, they can be automatically execute DAO's approved rules, manage their routine operations, trigger emergency actions, and all can be done with AI. And even these AIs can be issued identities. So that is the next large opportunity which is going to happen in the enterprise adoption, where AI agents are used, and this where blockchain use case is also going to increase and become more uh, interesting in the enterprise sector. And that's where now become a blockchain will also leapfrog in its adoption, though it has been used in most of the government uh, projects and currencies, cryptos, and bitcoins. But still, there was lack of adoption in the enterprise sector. But now, with the use of AI agents, because even the agents has to identify themselves, so blockchain will become very significant player for in the AI ecosystem. The impact is fast response, lower operational overhead, reduced dependency on humans. So AI agents, which means middle management without politics. So whenever you involve a human, there is always the chance of bias, chance of some getting influenced by some other people. So agents are not biased; they run by rule, they go by the algorithm, and whatever they have to perform, so they perform their activities, and they terminate the process. All AI makes DAOs participate for the real world. Without AI, DAOs struggle with complexity, participation, and scale. With AI, DAOs can work for airline, transport network, climate and carbon markets, digital public infrastructure, supply chain, city governance, financial systems. Critical principle: AI must be governed by DAO. AI should not rule the DAO, DAO must rule the AI. So, this is more important. Best practices: AI proposes, human decide, smart contracts execute, DAOs audit AI behavior. This is the best practice. And AI is the advisor, not the sovereign. One powerful analogy: if DAO is the parliament and blockchain is the constitution, AI is the civil services, efficient, tireless, and accountable. So AI is like a IAS or a IPS officer. So DAO is the parliament, which is the members in the parliament who sit and vote on the make the policies and decision making. Blockchain is the constitution, which protects the rules, brings in trust, transparency, and execution. And AI turns DAO from democratic experience into scalable institutions. Blockchain provides trust, AI provides judgment. Without AI, DAOs don't scale. Without DAOs, AI isn't accountable. Big picture is AI plus DAO, autonomous institutions, self-learning, transparent, adaptive, and global by design. This combination is a foundation for future governments, climate coordination, platform economies, industry consortium. So with this, I end my presentation. Hope it was interesting. I can take any questions. Hello.
Yes, sir, we have questions in the chat, in the comment section. You can just see from there.
Yes, okay, yeah, see, I understand when we use AI, but that is when your blockchain is going to coming to picture to protect the data privacy and the identity. So, blockchain will do the privacy by design. It protects your digital, your identity and your privacy, and AI will do the execution part. So all your DPDP Act is also taken into consideration while you're executing a DAO. So privacy is taken care. I understand AI is both advantage and disadvantages, but because you're running a community, you know these loopholes are there. So you implement blockchain SSI for that, and that is why we also said AI agents will also have identities, which will have to verify themselves before they get into any execution process. So you know what is the role of an AI agent here. They're self verifying before they're coming into action, and so that the user knows, yes, these are agents which are deployed by this DAO community for certain purpose. So there's a purpose for which they have been identified. So identity is taken care. So that's not a big issue. When you share the question again, see, that is why you have community actors here, and you have people who will validate content. You will validate the source, and where is the source where the AI is taking this, and you are controlling it. So you are not allowing AI to run freely, right? So that is why when we read that, right, AI is just like an executing officer, administrative officer, but they are also being checked by the community. So the hallucination part is checked, the provenance is checked, and then the implementation is executed. Thank you.
So we have more questions.
See, a use case, it depends on what use case you are getting into. Any use case can be converted into a DAO structure. So that's where when we went through the presentation, wherever there is lot of coordination required than the hierarchical structure. You looked at the, that's why we ran through the Indigo Airlines use case also, right, where we had a lot of chaos. And because airlines run on a lot of coordination between, there are multiple players there, it's just not the airline, right, it's not the pilot, it's not, it's the airport authorities, the aircraft, the ground staff, and the airlines itself, the pilots, and the front line, the back end, the operations. So many things are there. If it's a hierarchy, the order is coming straight down and then you just follow. Here, wherever coordination you see a lot of coordination, there you can implement DAO. Or if you are driven by some passion, let's say you want to make any city saying it has to be, it is clean, right, and then you can create a community to drive incentive to keep that city cleaner, right? And what all you need to do for that is you need to onboard people who are like-minded, and then you need to give tokens to all these members who are going to contribute, who are going to educate, who going to show how things can be sustainable, how no plastics can be used. So it depends on an idea what you want to drive. For example, since you guys are, most of them are students, if you have to solve a student problem, so you create first you list down the idea and run it through student communities. And if there are like-minded people, student community, the problems need not be that it's a problem only in your university or a city or a state. The same problem can happen in the other state, in other country also. The more people come across the platform, right, so they will bring in more value, they'll explain what are the challenges, and then that community is driven by students, but that does not mean your faculty cannot join, your teachers cannot join, industry cannot join. Allow everybody to participate, so let them come up with an, because if they like the idea, if they want to solve the problem, right, they will add, contribute, they will write the proposals, and as a members we can go through the proposals, ideas, and if everybody votes for a particular idea, that person leads the execution, and then whoever is supporting the execution, they are all assigned tokens for the rewarded for the work which they are doing. So use case can be anything. It just has to fit into the DAO ecosystem. And because there is another thing which I need to tell you is, since we have 5 minutes, DAO is not uh, allowed to in India for that matter. There are only certain jurisdictions where you can create a DAO entity, like Wisconsin, Singapore has, Switzerland has, and Malta has. So in India, you have to create a private entity itself or an LLP, but you can drive the governance using a DAO. So you need to be aware of this. if you want to create a DAO ecosystem, you can register the enterprise in Wyoming or in any of these geographies where these are friendly, and then you can run the enterprise, or you run the setup as a private entity, and then you run the operations using the DAO governance models. Can you flash the question? See, in case of databases, you have members who are responsible and accountable for that, right? And only those people who have accountability, who are voted, who are doing the role play, they will be able to manage these structures, and there will be multi-factor authentication so that nobody can tamper the data. Yeah, it is part of the DAO architecture itself. The architect will decide how it is going to be structured, and the community will vote for it. What are the rules, rights you give to the admin, super admin, and who can do the editing, who can. It is a role based uh, access basically. So if you liked it, can I have some thumbs ups, or if you have any more questions, I can take. So I guess there are no more questions. So should we end this session?
Yes, we can wind up the session.
Thank you, Level Up team, for giving me this opportunity. It's always
Thank
interesting to come back to the academia and share our knowledge, and I would always be privileged to come every time and share our experiences. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a very great session. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, guys, now moving back uh, to our next track, that is generative AI track. We have Mr. Shadab Hussain, sir, and he'll be covering both the topics, even from the previous postponed session, that is mastering prompt design and fine tuning AI models. So just wait for some minute, and sir will be joining us.
Shrishti, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. Okay, guys, so now we have our mentor for the generative AI track. Please welcome back Mr. Shadab Hussain, sir. As you may remember, he is working towards AGI with strong expertise in generative AI and quantum technologies. He is a Google
Somehow
developer expert
can't
for
hear
Gen AI
anyone.
and AWS community builder for data and TEDx speaker. So, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining. Am I audible? Yes, sir, I can hear you. Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Hi, Srishti. I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Oh,
Okay, guys, we have Shadab, sir, with us. So you can start with the session if you're ready.
I hope I'm audible because I was not able to hear Srishti. There's something
Yes, are you audible? Am I
wrong with my
audible?
speaker, maybe. This kind of issue we faced earlier as well. Somehow we debugged last time for some other session, but I don't know, like, even after restarting why it's not working. So we'll not waste much of the time on like debugging the issues. I think you and the team members are there. Like you can post it on in the chat. I will be happy to. Um, Meanwhile, we will start with today's session. Okay. So let me share my screen first. Okay, so let's share the screen, and if you're able to see the if you're able to see sort of like the presentations, just give me some signal in the chat, or if Sad you can ping me, that would be better.
Sir, it's not visible.
Okay, perfect. I hope the slide up now. Okay, perfect. I hope this should be visible. Like I have some part of that topic too. Before we start with today's topic, given we have 50 minutes left, I will see like what all I can cover in the today's session. So Srishti had already given my intro. So first of all, like, welcome to today's session on mastering prompt design and fine-tuning the LLM model. Both are the topics we are going to cover, given the like whatever time we have. And I'm very much excited to share with you. I mean, they just don't transform like how you interact with the AI tool, but also like how you can make best out of the AI models or Gen AI models, like whatever you're planning to use. Will be efficient your goal. Okay, so before we begin, like just a brief about me. Lead engineer at Mathco, focusing on data and Gen AI side. And I work very much extensively systems, computing architecture and all. I also co-founded a company called Quantum Computing India, bringing about quantum and collaborate on different projects. Apart from that, like I have delivered a lot of like talks in conferences and meetups. I have authored book, like two of the books are ongoing right now. So and I've always been into like deep tech research, like aside my full-time job, like whatever I do, like I've been doing research also on the AI, ML or QML side. Uh, Sort of like interdisciplinary research where we try to combine like some domains like healthcare with machine learning or quantum machine learning to see like what improvement we can bring in. So that's pretty much about me. I have clear expectations for what you will gain from this session. After we are done today, sort of like you will first understand the fundamental role of prompts in AI interaction, why they matter, and how they work. Second, you will know the basic principles of prompt design, the foundational rules that apply across different AI tools and applications. And third, you will become familiar with various prompting techniques as well as specific strategies you can apply sort of like immediately. We'll be doing some hands-on also parallelly, so you'll be able to understand like how it actually differs. We'll also learn about some of the common pitfalls like hallucinations, bias, and inconsistency in the output. Okay, before we start, some of the sessions have already been conducted in past, and I assume most of you will be knowing what is Gen AI. But throughout this session, we are going to refer generative AI as Gen AI, so you should be knowing that like what all abbreviation we are going to use. Uh, and AI model somewhat is also synonymous to Gen AI models. So they all refer to the same thing that we are learning to communicate with. And when I mention chains, or if I'm talking about conversations with Gen AI sequences or prompts that build upon each other. Okay. And you also might can notice prompt design and prompt engineering interchangeably. So there is actually some terminological ambiguity you can say in the field. Many people refer prompt engineering, which is a more established term, and you will see often in the literature as well. Uh, but prompt design is also the same thing, like how you design the prompt. Okay. So today here is like our roadmap for today's session. We'll start with understanding the role of prompts, the foundation of like everything in AI. Then we will explore the core principles of prompt design, the fundamental guidelines that guide prompts across the board. Then we will dive into specific prompt engineering techniques like tactical approaches you can apply to different scenarios. After that, we will discuss using prompts to sort of how we can address common pitfalls, how good prompting can prevent things like biasness and hallucinations. Okay, and finally, we'll have some hands-on practice, as I said. So this structure will take you from understanding the why to mastering the how. Okay, let's get started without further delay. So we are going to start with the foundation, understanding the role of prompts in our interaction with AI systems. This is where everything starts. So it's very crucial for us that we build a solid understanding here. Okay. So as a refresher, the understanding of Gen AI uh, and why prompt engineering is important, right? So Gen AI is a newer form of AI that builds on deep learning and language models. And what makes it unprecedented is its adapting capabilities. It can handle diverse tasks and learn from context in ways previous AI couldn't, right? So it generates sort of novel content on demand using its training data, whether that's text, images, code, or other outputs. And for our purposes, it's capable of semantic and conceptual understanding as well. And it doesn't just match keywords, it understands meaning and context also. Today's Gen AI is like multimodal, meaning like it can work across text, image, audio, and videos as well. And the way the advancement in the AI field is happening, it is these systems are continuing to learn and evolve, right? And the market is already in the state of hyper evolution. What's true today might change tomorrow, right? This is why mastering prompt engineering principles is more valuable than memorizing specific tricks for specific tools. The principles sort of like endure even as the tools evolve. So, like with all the changes and everything is going on in the industry, this is something which is becoming very much important for Gen AI engineer, even like for the industries as well, AI engineers as well. Like even as a person also, even if you're not a Gen AI developer or AI engineer, right? Still, it's very crucial for us to learn prompts and understand the Gen AI models so that we can get the better results efficiently, and we learn how to use these tools in a best way possible. So like even though Gen AI models have been trained on like a lot of data, like for say reasoning capabilities or coding capabilities, they have been exposed to like real-time data or even the search engines as well. But if we don't even frame the questions in a right way, we will not be getting the right outcome from these models. So let's start with a very basic question first. What is a prompt? Right. So I will give you a few seconds. You can type the answer in the chat. Like I'm sure many of you would be already knowing. I will continue the session parallelly. Whatever understanding or definition of prompt you have, try to answer in your own words. So at its most basic, a prompt is simply input to an AI model in natural language, right? And this is very revolutionary. Why? Because we don't need to learn programming languages or complex syntax. We can deliver prompts via a text interface like many of you would already using ChatGPT or Gemini or Cloud, or even like accessing these models through an API for programmatic access, or even like if you are too lazy to type or like if you don't want to code, too lazy to type and all, they have like microphone capability enabled as well, where you can just use voice to text capabilities to question these like models for you. So the AI model understands our query semantically. What do we mean by semantically? It's like it comprehends what do we mean, not just what we literally said, right? Then based on that, it performs desired task based on that understanding, whatever it is able to capture from that semantic understanding. And here is the point where it gets interesting. We can create sequence of prompts that we call like prompt chains. And this is like essentially having a conversation with the AI where each prompt builds on the previous context. So we'll start with something and we'll continue the conversation with the AI model. And this conversation approach often yields much better results than single isolated prompts. So this is like overall what a prompt is. So we like whatever like in a plain language or in a human language, we pass the input to the AI model is called as prompt. When that when the input to the AI and the output from the AI becomes sequential, like there's a whole chain of thoughts like which is getting exchanged between the user and the AI. That is called as prompt chain. And with each new prompt, we are able to get more clear and better results based on like whatever our questions we are trying to ask. So sorry, like any tool, prompts have both benefits and limitations we need to understand. On the benefit side, we can describe tasks precisely and creatively using natural language. There's like incredible flexibility over here. We don't need to develop like expert skills in Boolean operators to get started. We can work multilingually, and there are many other benefits we can explore. At the same time, there are certain very important limitations as well. Most AI tools have limited number of words per prompt, and sorry, usually they are measured in tokens. So even like if you are working with Gemini or ChatGPT, I don't want to like extensively, but at times forget about the programming aspect. Even when you are trying to generate some reports or some sort of like document, and if the chat window is becoming too long, you will get that you have exhausted your token limits for the day. So most of the AI tools, if you use them a lot, there are certain limitations put so that uh, uh, you're not putting sort of like very extra overhead on these models. And there's also typically a limit on prompts per conversation chain as well. And this also varies by tool. Another limitations are like there's a lack of transparency. We can't always see how the AI is interpreting the prompts or why it is producing certain outputs. And this black box nature is something we work around through. through designing our prompt very carefully. If there's a lack of repeatability, the same prompt might produce different outputs at different times. Again, good prompting techniques will help us minimize that variability in the output. So understanding these limitations will help us work more effectively within the prompt. So these are like uh, pros, like benefits, like prompts we have. What do we like understand about engineering and the craft we are doing? So engineering or designing is the art and science of creating efficient prompts for AI models. Few people like refer that as prompt design. Few people you will see referring to prompt this as a prompt engineering as well. And it serves very important purposes. First, it maximizes the consistency and improves reliability in our AI models. When we engineer our prompts well, we get more predictability instead of like having uncertainty of what output we are going to get. Second, it helps us in leveraging an AI sophisticated capabilities using these tools. And third is like it individualizes talking like very in a generic way. We will get the bland responses that AI needs. How efficiently we are crafting our prompts depends on that. The output of the AI model will also depend. Fourth one is here. It is very important for us that we address generated pitfalls as well, because a lot of time you'd have seen people get hallucinations in the results as well. So how we can better prompting techniques. And here is something crucial to remember, like Gen AI is an ever-evolving black box. And what we are learning today are like guidelines, best practices, not the hard and fast rule that you have to do this. You can say experimentation, adapting to like whatever best we find. To be mindful about you have different prompts, see like what is working in your case for different use. Okay, that's the very first thumbnail I want to set here in this. So let's start with first. We are ready to dive into the core principles of prompt design. So before we get into technical, be creative. Uh, I mean, I'm serious about that. The best prompt engineers are to approach this with curiosity and openness. Don't be afraid to experiment. Try unconventional approaches and see what happens. AI interactions should be engaging and informative. So the principle which we are going to cover up today are like these are with that like mindset established. So this is the very like first formal principle. behave properly in that case, right? So let's take an example over here. Like here's a cluttered prompt. You provide me with a detailed explanation of photosynthetic process and the significant biochemical reaction. Prompt itself, we can notice three words. Can you notice? Try in very plain notice, right? Also, notice the format instructions for you. Add you. Somehow, like my internet is a bit bad, so it's taking some time. Yeah, network issue it seems. I hope my So sorry, something is wrong with my Wi-Fi since I've moved back here and it's dropping the connection again and again. So anyway, I've switched my network back to the mobile hotspot. I hope this works better now. So this is the first round, like which we are going to test. Let's start a new temporary chat over here. And I'm going to copy the second prompt meanwhile as well, till the first prompt output is getting generated. Okay, so you can say this prompt also gave you sort of like clear step-by-step explanation of photosynthesis. You can say it's like describing as photosynthesis. There was no point of making this photosynthetical process, the word being changed. And like it has given the detailed explanation of what photosynthesis is in actual. Okay, we are going to like start one more temporary chat over here, and we are asking explain the process of photosynthesis and its significance in detail. You can see the difference between both the outcome, right? What we wanted to do was we wanted to learn what photosynthesis is and its significance. You can see this also started with what is photosynthesis and went ahead with like describing the results and like coming up with the pictures from the internet or AI generated images. This is also doing the same thing, but if you notice the difference between the language and all, right? It's like almost similar, but at some points, like this has explained in simple terms like this, right? This that context is missing from here. So there's a huge difference between how we ask the questions to these kind of Gen AI models at times. Okay, so this was like just one basic example for us, like why do we need to be concise? Okay, there are many other examples we are going to cover up like during the hands-on session. So we have to be very much concise with what we are trying to ask the AI at the same time without losing the actual context of or without eliminating the meaning of like what we are trying to ask from the AI models. Next is our second principle is be clear. We need to avoid any kind of vague or ambiguous wording. We have to be as specific as necessary to eliminate multiple interpretations. If we are ambiguous in our own prompts, how AI will understand what exactly we are trying to ask it, right? So this also we can understand with an example. So let's assume if we just ask, how do I produce a paper? Think about all the ways this could be interpreted, right? Are we thinking about the paper, the material, a research paper, a newspaper, a term paper, the manufacturing process or the writing process? So our AI model, be it ChatGPT, Gemini, or any model, it will not be very much clear on what exactly we are trying to ask. Like the question itself is very vague and ambiguous. So here is a sort of like a clearer, unambiguous version. Explain the common steps of writing a research paper for a peer-reviewed academic journal. So if you frame the question very clearly, then AI will be able to sort of like understand it. There will be no ambiguity. We have specified writing, not manufacturing. We have clarified it's a research paper, not just any term paper, newspaper, or something randomly. And we have even specified the context, like peer-reviewed academic journal, like which will influence the type of guidelines the AI provides. So clarity doesn't necessarily mean length, okay? Often when you will try to sort of like give clarity to the AI, maybe you can give clarity for your question in a few words also. It can take few more like few extra words as well, but you have to decide like after reading the prompt whether your instructions are very much clear and providing enough detail for the AI model or not, so that any sort of ambiguity can be like avoided. At the same time, you have to be concise. Like you can't include any words or any phrases which is not required unnecessarily. Sorry. So two principles we have covered so far. One is be concise. Second one is be clear. Right. So let's go to the third one. Oh, third one is like more about include context and logical structure. So on this is the third principle. So providing context helps the like AI understand not just what we are asking, but why we are asking and how the response will be used further. So this also significantly improves the AI's reasoning and the relevance of its output. Building structured and coherent prompts also helps the AI parse our request more effectively. So again, we are going to compare two prompts over here. First, an unstructured prompt without context, which is like mentioned task involved in writing a research paper. We have not given any context, right? It is a very unstructured prompt if you analyze this. And this will likely give you a very generic list, like whatever like generic response you can expect. Now, if you phrase the prompt in a very structured prompt, like with context, like list the steps involved in writing a research paper for a student assignment, begin with selecting a topic, and with proofreading the final draft. So if you sort of like understand this prompt, it is very much clear. You have given the instructions what you're trying to achieve. So if you notice the difference between these two prompts, we have provided context about the audience. A student, like in the second prompt, if you notice, a student working on an assignment, not a professional researcher. We have given structure by specifying the beginning and ending points. This will result in response that's much more tailored and useful. So AI can now calibrate its response to the appropriate level of detail and focus on the aspects most relevant to a student assignment and not for a professor or researcher. So that's the another difference between like how if you include the context and logical structure, how AI will be sort of like able to process that and give us the better responses. Fourth principle is break down complex tasks. This is very crucial. We want to avoid combining several tasks in one prompt or asking for several outcomes or formats simultaneously. When we have sort of like tasks involving several steps or topics, we should be dividing that into separate prompts or create prompt chain, like sort of like a conversation where each prompt is built on the previous response. So if we take this example, what you're able to see over here, right? Like if you have to design a comprehensive marketing campaign for a new eco-friendly like product, detailing the target audience, key messaging, and promotional strategies, include specific examples of advertising, like medium such as if you read the whole prompt, like there's a lot we are asking AI to do at once. Like we are asking for a campaign strategy, specific examples, visual creation, all text writing, specific drafting as well. So AI will struggle to give like proper attention to each component. Instead, giving this prompt to the like AI, if we break this into a conversation, like start with solving first part of the prompt, like first we want to get the campaign strategy. Then if you're satisfied, we like ask for specific examples. Then we request for the visual markup. Then sort of like asking for the pitch script finally. So each step built on the previous one. We started from the campaign strategy and we kept on refining our results and building on top of it instead of like asking AI to do everything in once. So if we adapt these kind of strategies, this will maintain the quality control throughout the process. You will not be compromising with the quality of the output, what you're going to get in that case. Fifth principle is also very important. We need to like specify our desired output. We can control multiple dimensions of the output like style, tone, depth, length, format, language, content type, and even the temperature parameter we have like in most of the like Gen AI tools if you're using be it Gemini, ChatGPT or Cloud, like you can control those parameters. And the temperature parameter basically controls the precision versus creativity. Okay. So if we go through different examples, so over here we're going to go next. Like if we take the example of style and tone, so you can draft sort of like a prompt, like draft a paragraph on any topic XYZ in the simplistic style of a tabloid paper. Use a sensational tone. So this prompt is telling the AI exactly how to frame the content. Okay. You're telling the style and the tonality of the content, what you're asking AI to create. If you want to focus on depth and length, you if you look at the prompt, provide a high level argumentation on the topic of XYZ that does not exceed 500 words. So we have specified both the depth, okay, like high level legal argumentation is the depth, and the length constant also we have given in that prompt, like not exceed 500 words. So when the AI will create the content for us, it will make sure that the content is at high level within 500 word limit. Similarly, for format language or content type, we might request a three-column table, a poem in some language like Swahili or something, or a script in Python. And we have to be very specific about what form we want the output to take. And if we talk about like temperature, this is parameter that balances creativity and precision for like tasks so that we can balance out the like either precision or the creativity in the output we are going to get. So for creative task, like higher temperature gives us like more varied creative outputs. And some of the tools like let us adjust this directly like however we want. So before I move ahead, let me like show you some of the examples of like how all you like how you can control these parameters as well, or the session will become very theoretical. So let me see Gemini. Okay. So this is like ChatGPT, we have Gemini also where you can sort of like play around. So if you go into the tools, you can select like whether you want to create videos, images, guided learning, dynamic view. Like we have a lot of like tools. You can select between the like models as well, whether like you want to get the answers quickly. If any complex, if you're looking for the output for any complex task, then you can select thinking. If you have to if you like task or the things what you're looking for needs to think longer, like for advanced maths or coding problem, you can select the pro version of the Gemini model. So there are different versions of the model which you can play around at the same time. Like if you want to upload any of the like documents or notebook LM, I don't know how many of you have heard about it. If you have not heard, you can go and play around notebook LM also. This is one of the best tool you will discover if you have not like explored yet. So, what I was trying to show you over here was um, settings. Okay, I think it has been removed from here. Let me show you from this thing. AI Studio. And if we go to the dashboard, Okay, and if we start with chat with models, okay, so you can also go to aistudio.google.com. And over here, you can see this temperature parameter, which I was talking about. So this temperature parameter basically controls your like outputs creativity versus like variance in your output versus like the precision, like how accurate results you want. So you can play around this parameter as well and see for your prompt what kind of output you are getting. Like that, like if you're working as a programmer or as an AI engineer, you can configure various other parameters for the API purpose. And you can decide on the thinking level as well. Like some of the tasks will not require high thinking. So you can select minimal, low, or medium so that you don't end up wasting the model resources unnecessarily. And each of the sort of like configuration will have different costing also for your input and output. You can control different other settings as well, like a structured output, any function calling, code execution, grounded with Google search if you want it to be, and so on. So this was the parameter I was talking about. Let's say if you uh, what are the principles for prompt engineering? If that's something we're going to ask. Okay, thinking level, let's say I will keep medium over here. Let's add it. So this will think it will based on like the Google search and different other resources, whatever it's going to like refer to. It's sort of like going to give us the results, like what are the core principles. So you can see clarity, specific and specificity, contextual grounding, structural separation, negative constraints, essential prompting techniques like we're going to cover up next, popular frameworks which we can follow like CoStar, Rise and Create, advanced context engineering tips and all, like everything has been like summarized over here. And what all this like pages and like resources it has referred to, those are also like given at the bottom. So this is like how you can play around. Let's say if you are trying to build an application and all, and you don't know like what prompts will work. So often, even before building the application and integrating the prompts directly in the application, you have to sort of like play around, do some sort of like experimentation in these kind of like studio platforms, so that you have tested your prompt thoroughly, and then after that you incorporate that in your like application code and take it forward. And for that, like for taking the getting the code and all, it's very easy. Like you just have to click on this get code option over here. Obviously, you have to, but you can copy the code and you can like get the sample code version over there. You can execute it, and also it will show you like how many tokens are getting used. So these kind of things will help you sort of like in designing or developing better AI applications. So to get the API key, you can click on this get API key and create API key. You can select the projects and billings and you can like proceed further from there. Okay, so this is like about AI Studio. We'll dive most deep into the like other aspects of the different tools. But let's move forward with the next part of the principles. Like this is the final principle which we are going to cover up today. We need to reflect and adapt our approach. So this is perhaps the most important for long-term success. Okay. So if you continuously evaluate your outcomes by your own, like we will be able to analyze our prompting techniques, what is working, what is not working. If the AI giving us what we need, if our prompt is not leading to the desired outcome, what we can adjust in that, we can rerun the adjusted prompt, we can fine tune it, and we can keep improving it. And how do we improve? By applying the other principles we have discussed, like adding more clarity, providing context, specifying like about parameters more precisely, or by using sort of like different prompting techniques, which we're going to discuss. So if we combine all these principles together, like this is where the real power comes in. These principles like complement each other. We don't like use just one at a time. We have to mix and match based on like what is the optimum results we are expecting from the AI model. So you can see we have two examples given over here. Like one, if you look at the first prompt, draft a paragraph on climate change in the simplistic style of a tabloid paper, use a sensational tone. That's okay, but we can make it much better by combining multiple principles. For example, if you look at the second version of it, we have given draft a newspaper paragraph of 500 words, including a headline. So we have added like the limit of output, like how many words we want, then what's the topic, what's the style we're expecting, what tone it should be using, precision, like be creative and describing climate change effects. So these kind of like techniques will help us in getting the better result. If you're using ChatGPT or Gemini, you can try both the prompts and you can notice the difference between the outcome here. Okay. So next, let's go through the like we're going to understand. We have covered the fundamental principles so far, right? We are going to sort of like cover up techniques which we can make use of. And these are like moreover tactical approaches which builds on the previous principles, whatever we have covered so far. So first technique is like adding example. So you might ask, is this a technique or a principle? You can consider both, like it's a bit of both. But practically, if we speak, it's a powerful technique we should use regularly. So if you provide the AI model with useful examples of what we are looking for, these examples can relate to either the input you are providing or the output we are expecting. And if necessary, we can explain our examples to make sure the AI understand their purpose. Same way, like if we try both of the prompts, like we don't have enough time, so I'm not like doing much of the hands-on over here. But if you execute both the prompts by your own, like make a claim on nutrition that might be seen as controversial by like health experts, and the other prompt, if you try like make a claim, for example, chocolate is good for you, you will notice the difference between both the outcome again. So, and you will notice that AI understand exactly what we mean by controversial and something that has some support but challenges conventional wisdom, right? So this example, what we have added in the next prompt, it calibrates the AI responses very perfectly. So that's why adding examples to the prompt often acts as a like very powerful when we are sort of like looking for consistency across multiple outputs. If you're designing an application and all, if you have given some sample examples, it will understand and get more context from that example, and it will make sure that same sort of like standards have been followed while giving the output. Next one is like the role play, where we sort of like think you can think of yourself as a movie director and the AI is your method actor. So if you are programming the AI model through pretend roles and scenarios, giving it a character to embody and a situation to respond to. So this is a very powerful shortcut to fine-tuning tone, depth, style, and even the training data the AI applies to our query. So when we give AI a persona, it draws on all the patterns associated with that role in its training data. So act, if you give design the prompt like uh, consider you are an aspiring entrepreneur, consider you are a marketing manager, consider you are a software developer, consider you are a DevOps guy, consider you are a sort of like salesperson and you have to reach to some customer to sell product XYZ. So that kind of persona will make sure that AI is adapting to that persona and it will give you more tailored and curated response, like with specific characteristics of that persona, whatever we add to the prompt as a context. Okay, so this will sort of like produce much more nuanced and contextually approved response than simply asking how should I use AI sort of like ethically in business. So the role play technique often adds depth and specificity automatically. If you're trying to perform something, try to see like if adding personas to the prompt can improve the outcome from the AI or not. Next one is like using AI to generate or improve prompts. So here's a meta technique that might seem a bit mind-bending, but we use AI to generate or improve prompts. And this like we in the industry we often use because no one has mastered the art of prompting that whatever prompt we are going to write is going to be like best version of it, right? So we you can even ask AI to write a prompt for you, like give the prompt in your broken English, unstructured format prompt, and the AI will give you the structured prompt, which you can pass back to the AI in a new chat and get the better results. Okay. And this is the like last one, like mark up your input. So this technique is simple but remarkably effective. So every simple punctuation sort of like helps structure your prompts, but using fake markup syntax is even more sort of like effective. And what do I mean by fake markup is like using formatting that looks like code, so all structured data. So instead of like putting everything in one sort of like paragraph without differentiating, I will try to make header examples uh, using bullet, these kind of like markup you can use so that it is more easily understood by the AI over here. So one of the examples over here is given like this is the earlier prompt. Then if you sort of like mark it up, then how it will look like. So there's a lot of like other things as well, like how you can use AI in combination with external data source. So that gets covered with RAG. And so RAG helps us in sort of like retrieving contextual information, whatever data source we connect to the AI, so that whenever the user is asking a question, we get the right results out of it. There are certain pitfalls. This is the last slide, and I will give you certain like handover before I end the session. Like we're already running over the time. So avoid like there are a lot of pitfalls when we sort of like play around these kind of like Gen AI tool. So and how we can sort of like overcome that is very important. So first of all, like try to avoid introducing any bias through your own prompts. Your our questions reflect like our own assumptions and will be leading AI towards those biased responses if by any chance we have introduced any, right? So we have to be very much conscious of how we frame our request. Secondly, we need to be aware of prompts that promote hallucinations. For example, requesting sources from tools without RAG capabilities, asking the AI to make things up by its own. So if it doesn't have access to real sources, it will fabricate them. When it will fabricate them, it is hallucinating. So we should be aware of like what exactly we are asking AI to do for us. And whatever we are asking, is AI exposed to those tools or sources or not? Third one is eliminating bias and hallucinations through explicit instructions. For example, we can request sources from tools without RAG capability as well. So you can ask for a summary explicitly, like we cannot instruct not to change or add in information that is in like the original text. Sorry. And last one is like using
So,
AI tools that have
sorry
access to
to
external
interrupt,
data
but
source through RAG when we need any factual accuracy. tools with web search or document access are more will give us like significantly better results in comparison to where we cut off these tools. Okay, so the key insight here is that we are not helpless against AI limitations. Thoughtful prompting is a like powerful tool for us, which can reduce a lot of problems and improve output quality for us. So before we wrap up, I know I was not able to do like much hands-on. Some of the guides or links I have compiled over here. And prompt engineering itself is a like a very huge topic, which takes sort of like a couple of hours of time to go through. But these are some of the links like which you can refer anytime. Two of the links I will personally recommend you, like if you want to be better in like prompt engineering. This is the first one, prompt engineering guide. You can go to promptingguide.ai link. This is the GitHub repo of that. There are other sources as well, like prompt engineering by OpenAI API and even by the Google Cloud and Microsoft as well. But start with this prompt engineering guide. We have just covered basics of prompting and some of the techniques. In techniques, there's a lot more to be covered. Like given the like time limitation we have, I'm not able to cover everything, but we have like zero shot prompting, few shot prompting, chain of thought prompting, meta prompting. Some of that we touched base like at a high level, but there's a lot of like other prompting techniques which you should be aware of. So my suggestion will be like after this session, like since you have certain base set for you, try going through all this and you can cover up from there. Okay. I will share the slides with the organizers. They will hand over it to you. And I will stop over here. So over to you, Shristi or Sad.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for session. Um,
Hello.
Okay, guys, so moving back to our blockchain track, we once again welcome Mr. Amit Chanda, sir, for the session. As you may recall, he's the Vice President of Blockchain and Digital Governance with extensive expertise in leading statewide blockchain programs for government. His expertise includes Hyperledger Fabric, CBDCs, tokenization, and Web3, and he brings rich industry experience from organizations like EY, IBM, Capgemini, and NTT Data. We're excited to continue learning from his insights. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. Welcome back. You can start with the session.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for welcoming me into the session. So this will be my third session for this particular hackathon, and I hope my previous session has given you an insightful information on the Wave3 space. So today, as you can see, that we will be talking more about the future of Wave3 ecosystem. And earlier to this, I talked about the tokenization, NFTs, all those things. So I hope that have cleared your doubt into this particular topic. And now let's look into that what we think the Wave3 ecosystem will be, okay, in the near future, and what are the areas in that. Okay. So first of all, let me welcome everyone. Thanks for joining this particular meeting and from your hackathon. So now my name is Amit Chandra, Technology Solution Advisor to Web3 and e-governance model for public and private sector. Okay, that's my small introduction, which I have already covered yesterday also too. So you can follow me in LinkedIn. You can find me in LinkedIn as an Amit Chandra. So you can get in touch with me and we can have exchange of information, whatever the problem you can face. Okay, let's quickly begin on the Wave 3 opportunity and why now. So first of all, it's very important that before we can go ahead and discuss about the opportunity of Web3, we need to discuss that why it is required now. So there are a few of the points which I've covered in this particular slide, which says the importance of the Wave 3 in the current technology ecosystem. So first of all, it's very important that nowadays there are a lot of datas are there. Okay, so there are a lot of datas which are getting kept to an individual organization and they are owning the data. So if if a single organization own the data and they participate in a kind of ecosystem and they have the control of changing the data, so there is always a kind of trust issue, because wherever there is a financial model involved, trust become a big challenge over there. So what are the things need to be done? Okay, so as I said that there are a lot of data, the ecosystem is growing, there are a lot of import export, financial inclusion, supply chain process. So there is always a digital trust, and now digital trust has become a necessary tools, whether it is into the e-governance model. You might have seen that there are a lot of elections going on and there is always a trust factor. Along with that, we don't know that if any kind of schemes which has been launched by the government and whether the money are getting used properly or not. In the case of supply chain, there is always a problem to understand that if some logistic group says that okay, I'm into this particular location, and the owner of that particular product believe that no, the driver is might be telling some lies. So there is always a digital trust issue, which says that, and this is only happening because the lack of transparency of the data. Along with that, with this digital trust issue, the next scale of things has come, that how one could verify the data. Okay, that whether it is saying right or wrong, or whether the data which the stakeholder can view is adequate or not, or whether the decision could be made on that or not. So there is always a demand of a data which could be verifiable, tamper proof. As the data is so much important, because of which all the decision is being taken and $1 million kind of business is going on, so always there is a risk of fraud and data breach. It means that suppose the data is owned by a particular organization or a particular entity, then there is always a risk that those particular entity can manipulate the data based on their requirement, and if any illegal issues come, then they can use that for their advantages. So how the legal issues could be made on that, believe on that particular data which is owned by a particular entity, there could be a kind of data breach. Along with that, most of the time between the organization, that data of reconciliation issues takes place. The reconciliation issues is that suppose at the year of financial year, the report need to be submitted, and for that two companies are working with each other. So the ledger of both the companies should be matching in order to know that to submit it into the government, that whether it is a profit or gain kind of loss. And this reconciliation process takes a lot of time when it comes to a centralized model. Regulatory clarity is improving across digital asset identity and data governance nowadays, uh, with the help of DPDA and other data governance model. You can see that how government is saying that the data need to be transparent, the data need to be protected, and data need not to be kept into a single location. Along with that, the data need to be uh, uh, removed as and when required, or not to be used. So enterprise ready blockchain platform is getting matured. Now more and more multiple government are looking into the blockchain features. Along with that, the banking sector, we have seen about the CBDC, tokenization. Although Indian government is not much more interested in the stable coin and cryptocurrency, but in a global market, the stable coin and cryptocurrency is working. They are working on that model. Tokenization and digital ownership model is one thing which very important nowadays. Okay, because tokenization gives the unique identity of a particular digital asset. Okay, we know that how important nowadays an asset is. Okay, it was earlier also that much important, but that all to an hard copy of a document which is kept securely into a locker of a bank, or whether it is kept within the particular premises of the user, and the same copy is being kept with the with court also. Okay, the legal tender, and then the matching has been done and says that okay, it is proper or not. But there are somewhere a kind of risk of manipulating those data and making it the asset a kind of non-verifiable. Okay, so that all can be resolved with the help of tokenization, where the digital copy of that particular asset will be kept into a blockchain in an immutable manner. And nowadays, this tokenization and data ownership model is being discussing in a larger scale, and it is going from pilot to production stage. AI driven automation require, it means that as we say that in blockchain, once the data is getting recorded, it is immutable. No one will able to tamper those data, or in order to tamper the data, a new data need to be recorded, which will be kept. But don't you think that it's always an important that whatever the data goes on, that should be error free? Okay, and that should be something like that which is validated, and every condition are met on that. So AI will provide a kind of a additional layer of validation into the existing system, where only the validated data or only the correct data could be moved with the help of this trusted layer. Cross organization collaboration is also very important, and government and entities are shifting from nowadays. I have been working with the government sector, and I have seen that how earlier the government don't have that confidence on this blockchain technology, and they see it as a kind of concept only. But nowadays they are looking far beyond that, and they are shifting their focus from the ideation to the adoption stage. Okay, so this is how the web3 opportunity is currently into the market and why it is being required. Okay, now let's look upon the internet evaluation of wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3. We know that wave 3 is the version 3 of the web world. So web 1 ready only started on 1990 to 2004, where www take place on 90s. Okay, it was a static website basic, and only one way information is there. It means that the information will be published and it will be read. Okay, whereas a limited user interaction is there. It's a kind of static page, which you can see. If I want to build my own static page where I will display my own information, and I will have the right to only update that one, or no one will able to communicate with me, that will be a kind of read only internet or a static page. Then comes the wave 2 read and write internet, which take the rise of a social media platform, where rather than reading, the user can also write the content and publish it. It is a kind of platform centric ecosystem. Okay, but that too it is into a centralized data ownership by intermediate. For example, the Facebook, Instagram, all these are the kind of owned by a centralized system. Okay, and Amazon, YouTube, all this is a kind of centralized system. So that gives the rise of an wave two. Then comes to wave three world, which says about that read, write, and own. You can read the message from the internet, you can write the message from the internet, and it will be a kind of decentralized model which is backed by a blockchain trust and verifiable. There are smart contract and programmable value to provide the condition on that, with the example of digital identity, tokenization, and NFT. It means that you can prove the ownership of the data later on, after 5, 10, any number of years. You can prove that okay, this asset belongs to me. So that gives the rise of wave 3, and the business impact is a trusted infrastructure, automation, and cross organization platform. Okay, so there are three phases of the internet: wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Wave 1 is the read only, that is the static page, whereas wave 2 is the read and write, where you can write also, you can add data to the to the platform. And wave 3 is something more, a kind of decentralized ownership of the data. Now what web3 means for a digital trust. Okay, so for in the terms of digital trust, it is basically creating a kind of framework which provide a kind of trust of whatever the data which is getting recorded into the ledger. Okay. It means that whatever the action which I am taking, or whatever the things which are going on, that should be a trusted proof. Okay. And it also increase the secure interaction and enhance the data privacy. Nowadays we know that how data privacy is that much important with the digital identity of a person, that not to be misused. With the help of web3, the digital identity will be kept secure with the zero knowledge proof, whereas the data privacy could be done with multiple layer of encryption model into the system in the web3 model, that is the blockchain, through cryptocurrency and cryptographic mechanism. Okay. Along with that, it provide a kind of transparency across the various sector. Okay. And along with the transparency, whatever the transaction which are getting recorded into the ledger, that will have a kind of ownership, and later on that ownership could not be denied. Okay. So that kind of digital trust, it is getting provided. So trust also comes when we give the confidence that, okay, whatever this particular platform, whatever the transaction or whatever the things which are going on, that are non editable. Okay. That one person could not be able to manipulate that particular data. So from there itself the trust comes on. So how that could be done through the digital form, that is what web3 has done so far, that it won't be owned by a single entity, and in order to update those particular data, it require a kind of consent and agreement between the ecosystem. So core building blocks of Web3 are, as we have already discussed, is the blockchain and semantic web. Okay. So blockchain serves as the backbone of the Web3, which provide a kind of transparency and security. Transparency, as all the things are going on at a real time between the different organizations who are part of the ecosystem. Along with that security, it means that through the help of Merkle tree and chain address blocks, the security is being kept. Whereas this web3 are can be easily integrated through the API based with the existing system, whereas some sort of information can be kept into the blockchain for verification and authentication. Okay. And along with that, decentralized identity in Web3 nowadays is very important, because as I already says that who is performing the operation, or whether the users have the control of their personal data or not. The same with the DigiLocker is a centralized system, but DigiLocker itself is looking for a blockchain space where they can securely keep their data into a decentralized manner, so that it could not be manipulated and it could be securely shared with anyone. So how the information are getting shared, and how, whether it has been revoked or not, that is the question, along with the decentralized identity, self-sovereign identity, and then zero knowledge proof. Now web3 architecture comes on a three model. One is the decentralized and secure. Okay. It means that the entire ecosystem should be decentralized. Every organization will have their own ledger, but those ledger are interconnected with each other, all with all the organization. And the entire design will be in such a way that a particular person does not have the right to update the data. Okay. And if that is getting updated, then it will be shared with all the multiple nodes, and based on the consortium only the data could be done. Along with that, if somehow one server gets stopped for a time, and it takes time, then when that will get up, it will automatically through the gossip protocol can connect with the nearby nodes, and can sync up the data. So there is always a no single point of failure, that if the server is down, that the entire application will be down. It can be taken from the nearby node, and the work will go on. Data ownership is the complete control over the data into the Web3 model, based on the permission and access. Okay. As we know that in the case of private blockchain, only a only an approved or only a selected person will can be a or organization can be a part of that particular ecosystem. In the case of private blockchain, so no other entity or no other user will without the permission can enter into that ecosystem. So it will be a permission and permission. The same goes to public blockchain, where to be a part of a particular ecosystem, the user should have its own identity, and those identity, public and private key, will be kept into a secure wallet mechanism. But private blockchain is much more secure than the public blockchain. Okay. So, as I said, that Wave 3 is not about technology, it's about the trust. Why this particular sentence is that we have lot of technologies. Okay, Wave 2 is also a technology which is just capturing the data and which is giving the result at a real time. But the problem is that why one should go with the Wave 3? Because Wave 3 provide the trust. It says that whatever the action or whatever the uh, uh, transaction which are going on into the system, that could be trusted by a third party. Okay, that could be trusted by the ecosystem. Whereas in the case of Wave 2, as it is owned by a particular organization, that so there will always be a trust issues in that. Okay. So government transformation, as we know that the government always, the focus of government sector is always into the citizen engagement. They want to make sure that whatever the citizen services or the application which are there, that should be trusted by the citizen and all the department. And being working with in the governance model, most of the time what I found is that there is always a complaint with the citizen on the transparency. They are not able to know that where that particular service is and who is handling those. Along with that, there is always a kind of gap between the various department, where all the department have their own data model, and they don't have a kind of golden record. And because lack of this golden record impact the services at a real time. Because for example, suppose if I take an example of a PF, okay, I withdraw a PF, and that PF record, I raise a request, and that request will go to the PF department. That PF department will verify all my details about how much amount I have, how much withdraw I can do, and above all, whether my details are proper or not. So they will verify that one, and once that is being verified, they will send it to the finance department, so that the finance department will release the payment to the particular citizen. But somehow what happened, as the data between the PF department and the finance department are not in sync, so it might be possible that the data which is being approved by the PF department will get rejected by the finance department, stating that okay, this record is not matching. In that case, what happened, the finance department will revert back to the PF department, and PF department will revert back to the citizen, making the corrective action. And they will say that okay, this information is not correct into the financial department. Now they will ask that citizen to go to the financial department and correct the data. The citizen will go to the finance department, correct the data, which will take lot of time. Okay, and again the PF will get submitted, and the same process will go on. This is only happening because the data between the two organizations are silos, and they are not sync, and they don't have that golden record. So through the blockchain can provide a kind of golden record which is common for both the department, and both the department can use those golden record in order to provide the services to the citizens, and within a very limited number of time frame, the service will be provided to the citizen. So this is a kind of example how Wave 3 will can be used over here. And there are a lot of example in the land record also. We can see that during the registration process, there are a lot of things happen on verification of the land, and then transferring the land ownership from one user to another user, and that process are not being transparent to the citizens. Okay, whether the proper process has been followed or not. So with the help of wave 3 mechanism, this entire process can be streamlined with a kind of a immutable record, and whoever performing those particular transaction can be visible to the citizens to make the easier. Okay, so there are a lot of use cases. That's why the government is transforming. Okay, banking security. In the case of banking, you might have heard about the CBDC, the cross border payment, the trade finance. Those are the kind of use cases. And but for the banking, it's very important to have the secure vault. It means that a kind of vault which is highly secured and no one will able to breach that. Although currently the banking security is high, far beyond the expectation, and they make all the sure that could not be tampered. But with the help of decentralized, it makes the work more easier than the current. Whereas the blockchain network provide a kind of the kind of easy services. Okay, in the case of telemedicine and solution, it's about the virtual consultancy. It means that with this kind of wave 3 mechanism, the customer will able to know that whom they are dealing with, whether it's a verified data or not, and whether whether a kind of all the things has been followed or not. Whereas the remote monitoring is also the healthcare devices that are capturing the data in a secure manner. Supply chain transparency is something, this is very important because in order to serve better, or in order to make the risk reduce, it's always important to take the action at a correct time, at a real time. Okay, and with the help of wave 3 mechanism, this all organization who are part of this supply chain process will be connected with each other, and at a real time they will be able to get the data into their respective ledger, and if something goes wrong they can immediately take a kind of action. So that's why in the case of supply chain, transparent supply chain, authenticity verification, it means that suppose I'm purchasing a product, or a product is being transferred from manufacturer to the distributor through the logistic company, then during the logistic, or the during that transportation, nothing has happened to the product, who will take care of that? So during while receiving the particular product by the distributor, he can verify the data at a real time, that when the manufacturer loaded the product to the logistic company, at that time whatever the rules and regulations which has been followed, the same has been followed during the transport, so that the distributor will able to accept that one. If the CS say that some rules and regulation has been compromised, or compliance has been compromised, then they will automatically, with the help of smart contract, a warning will be triggered, and the distributor will not accept that, and the manufacturer will at a real time will able to understand that whether that has been accepted by distributor or not, by sitting into their position, or sitting into the chair. So that kind of authenticity verification can be provided. This is for the distributor. The same goes to retailer, customer also. Good tracking makes it very easier. At a real time, one could track the easy. If IoT is being implemented along with a blockchain, then at a real time the transaction will get recorded, and the manufacturer, the logistic partner, and the distributor, or the other, all the organization who are part of that ecosystem can track the entire process. Okay, so NFT beyond art. So in future, might have seen, you might not, digital identity is also one of a use case. You will be seeing Digi. Yesterday, I've already given the example of Digi. Later on, we will see that. Suppose there is a singer whose voice is very good, then they can have a asset of their voice in a secure manner, in a kind of tokenization form. Secure licensing, if I have a kind of license of a particular asset, or any kind of license of a product, I can do that one through NFT. Industry connections is basically, it can be collaborated with various industries, for example pharmaceutical, for example publishing agency, music industry, art industry, fashion industry. All those industry can be a part of this particular ecosystem, and they can tokenize the entire process. entertainment experience. You We might be seeing AR VR kind of platform in the near future, where with a virtual reality we can see a kind of concert. Okay. uh, and that could also be done with the help of Web3 for the identity management, and all the transaction related data could be move into the Web3 space. Party is something, NFT art showcase, a 3D model of AR VR, where you can see Book My Show can use the digital identity mechanism. We have seen that when we go for to watch sports into the stadium, over there also, rather than showing the ticket, we can have a kind of QR code with us, which could say that, okay, we have the entry or not. Live streaming event can also be a part of this particular ecosystem. Smart energy solution, this is very important nowadays. We know that there are government is so much of focus on to make the country pollution free, because there are a lot of things going on, and there are a lot of vehicles are into the market, industries are market. So how this could be solved? Okay, for example, how the renewable energy can be formed, so that to meet the demand of the energy consumption of the country. So that could be track. Okay, so this is one example. Suppose I have a land, and in that land I have a solar panel. I have taken the subsidy from the government to install the solar panel, and then whatever the electricity which is getting generated, how I'm going to sell it to the government in a transparent manner, and I can get a benefit out of that. So that kind of mechanism can be done with the help of Web3. Okay, whereas the smart metering system, this is same related to the renewable energy, or the energy which is getting consumed. Okay. And we can also form a kind of marketplace, where we can what the user can list that how much energy they are getting consumed with the help of solar panel. Okay, hello, am I audible? Hello, hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay, okay. So there is a kind of some power disconnection over here. So so this the community. So there could be a kind of a marketplace where anyone could list down their electricity consumption and whatever the saving they have, and they can buy and sell over there. So this kind of Web3 models or the use case can be think of for a future model. Okay, although currently this kind of use cases and application are there, but you can think of in a better way of applying those. Personalized learning, collaborative environment. I know one of a use case where one of a startup are working on this collaborative environment, where they are creating a platform, and within that platform they can search for a kind of language in which they want to learn. For example, Java, they will type Java, and within the 5 kilometer radius, the user will get to know that who all are having the Java skills and want to have teach them. Along with that, the same could be done and in a kind of collaborative and reward model. Verifiable credential VC is very important nowadays, that the students should have their own digital batches, and through the digital batches, they can provide their authenticity in that. Mentoring in learning is also one model. Interactive learning, global connectivity, all those things are the Web3 model which one can look after. Okay, but most of them is the collaborative environment and verifiable credential, which is very important nowadays. Few of the, as we know that Web3 provide a kind of advantage with the help of trusted data, real time data, trusted real time data, and with the help of smart contract and other mechanism. But there are few of the risk and challenges which need to be work on. So first of all is that the scalability. Okay, scalability, that whether it will be able to handle what volume of data that need to be tested. Along with that, Web3 itself provide a kind of security mechanism, but one need to be make sure that whatever the data which is comes to this Web3 need to be secure and need to be taken care. There should be different layer of firewall into the architecture model. Interoperability is something that how it could be connected with the existing application and what how much data it could capture into the Web3, because if you are going to capture all the data into the Web3, then it will not be a cost effective model. So only those data need to be kept into the Web3 which are very critical and based on which the decision are getting take care of. So ensuring robust and widespread adoption are very important. Navigating the regulatory landscape of Web3. This is something about the compliance and legal framework for adoption. So whenever we design or whenever we develop any kind of application or for any domain, it's very important to understand the compliance and regulation of that particular domain. So this is very important for the successful Web3 adoption. For example, now today only I am just going through one of a press note of RBI, and RBI is saying that in the current scenario they are not supporting the cryptocurrency and stable coin. And suppose someone has in their mind that why not to develop a kind of stable coin which is a kind of private currency, and that is being supported by the central government with a asset deposit to the central bank. But the recent news says that this model will not work because currently the government is not looking for a stable coin and cryptocurrency. Rather, they are more focused on the CBDC. But then also they are taking it with a few more precaution, because currently UPI is doing very good and it is solving all the problems of the government. Okay, so that kind of compliance legal framework need to be taken care whenever you think of any kind of use cases, because it might be a case that you have did all the homework, develop application, later on you found to know that it is not passing through all the legal compliances, and you will face a problem. Governance is key to Web3 adoption. As I said, that whatever the application you are building, or whatever, whether it is private or anything, that should be go through the government compliance and regulation. Because without that, at any moment, your application can be shut down. The same which happened to the particular lottery system, that gaming app. So at the initial level, government has approved the lottery system or the gaming app, and later on they bring a kind of rules that this gaming will not be a legal further. So all have been closed. So government is the key Web3 modernization. So it's very important to understand. So the adoption roadmap should be phased implementation. Okay, it means that first of all one has to understand that the phases of implementing a particular use case. So first of all, requirement gathering is very important, and then after requirement gathering, it's all about the market study in this particular requirement gathering, with all the compliance which need to be followed in order to implement, and then start with a kind of key milestone. Okay, that how you are going to track the entire progress. What will be the phase one of the Web3 model, what will be the phase two of Web3 model, phase three, when you are going to release the beta model, when you are going to release the other model. So those are very important for the long term success of adoption roadmap. So 5 years outlook, what I feel is that currently this blockchain is getting used in blockchain or Web3. Okay, getting used in every domain, and but according to me, it's more about securing the database or providing the database at a real time. Along with that one, if it be integrated with AI, then that will be a great. Okay, now AI will be a part of the application, where AI will decide that what type of data should be recorded into the blockchain, and all the validations has been done or not. So AI integration, you will see an adoption of AI integration. You will also see that this blockchain is getting used on the government along with the private sector in the case of tokenization, in the case of renewable energy, in the case of certificate. All those government certificate related to citizen certificate will be kept into the blockchain. Okay. Strategic takeaway that key undertaking the problem solution framework is essential means, first of all, that one has to understand that what is your problem. Based on the problem, what the solution you are bringing, how that solution is aligned with the real problem of the citizens, and then only whether you are following all the compliance to that particular solution or not, then only you will be able to proceed further. As per my knowledge, I think there will be exponential growth into the digital system to the different environment, because what I have seen is that DigiLocker, CDAC, DG Yatra, along with the government, are looking securing the all type of certificates into the blockchain. Along with that, tokenization and banking sector is also looking into adopt a blockchain for the cross border payment or digital trust. Okay, so all those things are very important to make a note. Compliance and auditability is also very important to understand that whether all those things are going well on or well or not, hand to hand or not. Okay. Data privacy. So in order to implement web3 is already providing a data privacy, but into the existing entry point also, the data privacy should be kept with the help of DID, self-sovereign identity could be implemented. Before versus after, in so before web3 will always increase the just give me a second. Web3 will always increase the security of the existing platform, whereas it will give a decentralized control of the particular ecosystem. Okay. 40% enhancement growth you will be able to see in the improvement in the efficiency. So thank you for joining this particular meeting, and I hope I'm able to cover the roadmap of the wave3 ecosystem. So thanks a lot. If you want to get in touch with me, please reach out to me in LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the session. If you have any resources that you want to share, you can share it on Discord.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
I
sir.
will.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys. Now we'll be having a generative AI session that is from 1 p.m., which will be taken by Mr. Shubham Kundu, sir. So wait for some time and we'll start the session. Okay, guys, so now moving ahead. In our generative AI track, please welcome back Mr. Shubham Kundu, sir. As you may recall, he is a founder focused on building agentic skills for enterprises with strong expertise in self improving AI agents. He is also a 3x founding engineer and a winner of 10 plus hackathons, bringing deep hands on experience to the table. He's back with us to continue the session and share deeper insights into agentic AI and real world applications. So, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining. You can start with the session.
Hey, hey, Sisti, thank you. Hello, everyone. So I hope you are doing well. And yeah, I see a lot of good afternoon. So good afternoon to you all also. With that said, let's start the session. So don't know how many of you were in the first session where I spoke about agentic AI and what is generative AI. So and then we are starting this session. So this session again, as you all know, I try to keep the session as interactive as possible. So I'll take a lot of questions, definitely. And three things I would like to focus on this session is like at the end of the day, work needs to get done, right? Use AI or not use AI, work needs to get done. So what are the best practices you should use while using AI tools to get your work done, whether you are using Cursor, Windsurf, product engineering, whatever. The second, I'll discuss some open areas which I think will be the new 2026 paradigm. Okay, where we'll have a lot of new opportunities in that. And the third, but not the least, I would discuss more on like how you should think agent in the long term run, not for the short term run. Okay. So I think with that said, let's start our discussion. Okay. So maybe let's start with a very hot topic of 2025 since we're almost at the end on MCP. Okay. So anyone like want to have the have a first thought like what is MCP? What do you guys think of MCP? Maybe in 5 words, what do you think about MCP? You can put your answer in the chat also. I'm looking in the chat too. Okay, MCP protocol. Can we get a bit more like why that protocol is used for? Okay, so let's cool. How many of you guys have not heard MCP? Like, just say maybe put an emoji in the chat. Then I will start from like actually what is MCP from very scratch rather than going from this thing. So I see someone said I just heard the name. So I think yeah, let's start from maybe very basic scratch. What is MCP? Let's start from there and we'll move from there. Okay. So suppose you are building an AI agent that will give you the latest news of uh, the stock market. Okay. So you asked, hey LLM, can you give me the latest chat, latest stock price of Google? LLM does not know the latest price because LLM has a knowledge cutoff till 2024 or maybe 2025. But at no time it does not have the real information. But how it can get that real information? That's where MCP comes. Actually, I say that's where tool calling comes. Okay. Now, what is tool calling? Tool calling is basically like you have created an API in your own format. Suppose the API is like async dev get latest news, and you created that thing in your own company and you started using it. Now there is a company B who is also trying to build that same news API. He also built another like API, get fetch news API. Okay. Now you see there are multiple functions that are getting built for the similar functionality which the LLM needs to call. Suppose you are using now GPT. Now GPT needs to like suppose you call GPT 5. GPT needs to now needs to understand for customer A, it needs to call the fetch latest news, and for customer B, it needs to fetch the get latest news. Under the hood, those are the same APIs, right? Because they are using the same thing. They are not using something very different. That's where it started creating a chaos, like a lot of things, many custom implementations getting started created for LLMs interacting with tools. And that's where I think paradigm shifted. Anthropic came up with MCP. MCP says we are exposing a new protocol using which LLMs can easily interact with external APIs using the same system. Okay. Now MCPs were now divided into five things. What are the five things MCP is divided to? So MCP has resource, MCP has tools, MCP has prompts, and I'm just forgetting the other name. MCP parts. I'm just forgetting the name. So it has just a minute. Oh yeah, it has the data, like the prompts, the tools, the resources. These are the main three things that you need to understand when you are working with MCP. Because what are the tools here? Tools are basically like the actions you will take and that you will actively call. Now, what are possible tools? Like maybe writing to a database or modify files. Those are the proper MCP tools. Okay. Then comes the resources. Resources are basically like when you want to get some access to the customer environment using MCP. That's why resources comes. And prompts are like instruction templates which tells the model how to work with the specific tools and resources. These are basically the three main core features of an MCP server. Obviously there is MCP client also. Most famous MCP client is Cloud Desktop. But I would say maybe as an exercise, I will give you to everyone, just try to implement an MCP client on your own. You will learn a lot of Python core programming there. Okay. Now, with that said, before I go on how you can implement MCPs in enterprise, any quick questions, anything on this? Because MCP is very important to understand for 2026 and 2027 because it is becoming a core system in the enterprise AI architecture. You can put your questions in the chat. Okay, I don't see any question, so I think I'll move forward then. So let me share my screen quickly. I want to show you some of my work that I have been doing for a long time. So let my screen share my screen. You guys can see my screen, right? Okay, cool. So how you can actually build an scalable enterprise tool calling layer and everything. No need to worry. We will discuss this in detail in small, and I'm just giving you an like a test on how actually an MCP works in enterprise resources, which you need to implement when you start working for different enterprises. Okay. So suppose you are an user, I am an employee. I kind of do a request. I write a request. Uh, show me the Q4 cost analysis of my business. Okay. I wrote that question. Now, previously, if I do not have an authorization server, it would directly call my internal resources. Now, what are my internal resources? That could be my database, my CRM. Okay. Now I'll give you a funny example. What happened when an intern was able to find a CEO's salary? How it was able to do that? So it was initial stages of the RAG systems when you started get building, and then intern got this co-pilot start asking what is the salary of my CEO. Now he got all the answer for that. Why? Because there was no proper RBAC like this request. Since it came from that user in the org has a scope of an intern, it would not be able to access the databases which is not allowed to access. Since there was no RBAC, no role based access possibles at that time, everyone was easily able to access all other informations, and that copilot got stopped in a week because it created havoc. Okay, then people started thinking about how we can do authorization, how we can do authentication. Now when MCP came, people understood, okay, I got my tool calling layer stabilized, it is following a particular protocol. Can I build a authorization around it? Before we move to this thing, can anyone write in the chat what's the difference between authorization and authentication? Any idea on that? I don't know if you're allowed to speak, but if you can speak also, if unmute yourself and speak. Yeah, you can unmute yourself and speak also. Like I like to have an interactive session. You can say anyone wants to have a crack on what is the difference between authorization and authentication. Oh, okay, okay. Can anyone write? Is anyone writing? Okay, let us do like this. Suppose you are logging in Gmail. Okay, what is it called? Is it authorization or it is authentication? No, Tanisha, it's not two factor. I'm just simple asking like what is authentication. And let's do like this. Like you are logging in Gmail or Microsoft Outlook. The first step, is it an authentication or an authorization? Yes, the first is authentication. Absolutely. So authentication identifies the person's identity. Okay. And then comes the authorization, which kind of ensures if the person is allowed to access that resource or not. That is authorization. So, since the user is already part of this organization, he is definitely authenticated because he logged in. Okay. Now, there is the MCP authorization server, which check takes the user ID, goes to the enterprise SSO, that could be Okta, that could be Entra ID, that's Microsoft Entra ID, and gets a token. In that token, I am saying this number third step, the SSO login. It gets the token. Now the token ordinance server takes it, it does exchanges the token and creates the access token. Now that access token has the token to query or to enter only those resources which the person is allowed to. Now you can see here from the AI client, now it goes to the MCP server. MCP server takes that token, the access token from here, and it tries to do the calls. The tools where it is not allowed to do that calling, it will get an unauthorized error, and the areas where it is allowed to, it will get an answer for that one. So this is very important to understand, like on how traditional authentication and authorization is still applicable in the modern agentic AI applications. So if you tomorrow, if you are using this thing, you really need to understand how this works. Awesome. I just want to touch on this one. Like any questions or anything before we may move to the next topic. Cool. I think then we are good. Okay. So how many of you here uses Windsurf or Cursor? Just put in the chat like with the names. Okay. How many of you used a Copilot like Visual Studio Code? Okay. Mitas has said he has used Cursor. Yeah. So have you guys have ever integrated any MCP where in the Cursor or Windsurf? So let's take this example. Okay. Tell me how would you solve this? Suppose you are building a front-end application using Next.js. Okay. Now today Next.js 15 came out, and the LLM you are using is has a knowledge cutoff of 2024. Okay, then this is 25. Now, how the LLM will access the new documentation of Next.js? So today I'm going to show that demo how you can actually configure an Windsurf server. It you can use the same thing for like cursor also. Do the same thing and do that. So let me open a new window and share my screen. So I'll stop sharing. I'll create a new project. Just give me a minute, guys. I'm just going in codes. Let me close this and let me share my screen again. So share screen. You guys can see my screen, right? It's a Windsurf server. Cool. Now, so I want to show you one thing that is, let me make it a bit smaller so it's easy for you guys to take this and take this. So this is like context 7. So what is context 7? Context 7 gives you the latest uh, up to date code for almost like how much they have, like 59,000 libraries. Okay, and it really gives you all the things. So suppose I want to take maybe Next.js only. Okay. Or what is a trending repository? Trending does not have a good one. So let's take Next.js only. And I want to take the Next.js. This is the thing they have. I want to connect in this to my MCP server where I'm coding. So it kind of understands how I can take the latest document. Okay. So how I can do that? I can just go to the dashboard. Sorry, I can go to the install. I can click it. It's an open source repository. So if you have cursor, you can click on cursor. I have Windsurf, so I'll open Windsurf and I'll just copy this thing. Okay, good. I copied this. Now I'll go to Windsurf. I'll open the chat window. I'll click on MCPs here, and I will just open the MCP tool here, and I'll just make it a bit smaller. So Windows B, yeah. And now what we'll do, I will delete this one. Maybe I don't need this. I'll just keep this one, the one I. So the context 7 one, I will just keep this. The bracket up to here is right. Yeah, right. So I'll just take this and I will paste it here. Okay. Now since you need to give your API key, so I'll just put the API key here. Okay, just a minute. I need to just get the API key and Okay, I'll just put the API key here and I'll do a save. Okay. Now, since and this API key, I will decommission it after we are done. But now, since we got this, let us open the MCP server. I have saved this one. I have now go here, open this MCP server, and you see it says I have got two MCPs already added. Get library docs, get 6. So context 7 got added here. So you see it is a 2 and it totally got added. Now I'll ask a question here. What are the tools I have? So you see it checks and give up. Yeah, and it gives, yeah. So it has the default tools that WinServe has by then it has the MCP server tools. These are the MCP server tools that is there. Okay, so maybe let's check about like, let's go to Next.js. Okay, Next.js, Next.js docs, and we'll take a latest version. Maybe this one, and close it. What do you what do you know about Next.js 16? Let's see what does it comes up. So you see, it kind of understood that Next.js 16 in its training data it does not have the information. As I said, like if there's a new, it does not have. But now since I have added context 7 as a protocol here, which provides the latest documentation, now my code editor is capable enough to work on latest document. This is very very powerful when you are working for your projects, because companies will give you some projects to work with, right? If you are using legacy things, they will hit you back, like they will be saying like, oh man, what you have done, it's the old thing you have used, then you again need to refactor. But systems like this really helps you in keeping up to date your code and up to date your standard. Okay, now with that said, I'll take some questions here, because this is really important to you guys to practice in real life when you are study writing any code. Okay, so yep, any questions, anything? Okay, so I see Sia has written not now. Cool. Just like, does it helps you? I think because this has helped me a lot when I used to write code, and this really helps me a lot in writing good code. So I hope this will help you as a trick in your systems when you guys use this. And I really like you to try out different things in Context 7. It has a lot of things which you can try out. Okay, awesome. So I think that's it. Now, I want to give you one more trick on how to do proper coding. Okay, so suppose you are trying to implement any authorization, authentication, okay, in your system. So, and Clerk is one of the most famous authentication system which people are using. Okay, so let me go to the docs, because obviously everyone uses docs. Okay, so you see here, this is a doc. Okay, maybe this has something new which LLM does not know. So Clerk has already started this feature, but most companies have started this a copy prompt or copy page. Okay, so whenever you are trying to implement something and you may be unsure if the LLM or your editor knows anything about that, copy these documents from here, paste it in the prompt, and say, "Hey, this is the latest doc. Can you create me a Next.js app with authentication authentication in Clerk?" And maybe let's use a smaller model. Why use a bigger model? Let me use the GPT-5 and ask. So by the time it will do, it will start take this documentation as a thing and continue working on it. So these are like the tips that really separates you from like an vibe coder to an actual software coder who can develop things quickly and in a right way. So everyone is doing a lot of like vibe coding, right? Hardly 5% or 6% goes to production. Those are going to production are the ones who have used vibe coding in a proper software coding patterns, like, and that's why understanding software design principles, like on how to do is proper coding different patterns, is so important now, because you can directly verify from the answer that is getting generated whether this app is actually following a right coding patterns or not. So it's very important. Okay, now that said, I know it's writing this thing. I may not do this because I just wanted to, so let it be. I'll stop this thing here. Okay. Okay. So I think that is one I wanted to show on the next thing, and maybe I will show you one more stuff. Let's take OpenAI docs. Okay. And maybe I go here. Docs. Here also you can see it has the copy option. So you can now most companies are moving to this copy option where you can copy this, see, copy page, where you can copy this whole thing and provide to the LLM to give your answer. It's very important on how, what, and doing. So it always gives the latest. Okay, now I think this is one thing I really wanted to help you guys understand on how to do proper coding, on how to use connect MCPs with your systems and those things, and really helps in the long term for that one. Now with that said, I want to move to some future research areas which can be used by, sorry, future research which you can think for the year 2026. Okay, so let me show you a few things. Okay, just give me a second, I'm just opening up it. Yeah, so let me go this. So let me open the, let me open my GitHub of it. And okay, so I'll ask here a question. uh Open research, so what should I ask, like, tell me about LLMs, and it is running. Okay. So while it is running, I want to show you this thing. See these icons which got created. So these are actually reactive UI that is getting created during runtime. So this is called generative UX, where my LLMs are generating UX at a runtime, which is getting rendered in the screen during runtime only. So this is like a new paradigm shift which is happening for LLMs, where you can actually go and come up with UX at runtime. You, so chatbots have now got boring. Like it's not now, like it's previously chatbots are like just question and answer kind of things where you write down only the text. That's it. But now things are becoming more interesting with generative UX, where my LLMs are capable of generating UX at runtime, which is pretty important to design more interactive interfaces. And I really want those of you who are interested in front end and those things understand this. This is going to be one of the hottest trends in 2026. And I kind of here kind of gave this thing, and I said approve proposal. So these all buttons, it this all get got created in runtime. I did not have any stand code for creating this. Okay, so I just created an approve proposal, and let's see what it comes up. While it is running, any questions, anything anyone want to point out? So you can see this loading and this icon. These are all got created in runtime. The UI got created at runtime for this. You see, it it did some research. It came up with this thing. The full document is getting created. It kind of came off. I can edit the system. I think let it run. After that, I can edit the system. Okay, and yeah, it's doing the step by step. It coming off with more things and writing. So this is a step by step write up. The backend I have written using LangGraph. Okay, I can share with you the code base for that one, and I think that's pretty much. I think it's a pretty open research. I mean, a research and production area, which you should definitely look for the future. Okay. Now, with that said, I think this is one area I was really wanted to highlight. So I think we're good with that. And now let me come to the next good topic, which I think you guys definitely pay attention. Okay. So there are 2 to 3 paradigms you need to really focus for 2026 and the upcoming time. One is MCP. The second is how you can create scalable agentic architectures, because that's pretty important, because otherwise you will not understand how to deploy good production ready codes. Okay, so that is also pretty important. In the first session, if you guys remember, I showed you guys an workflow, right? First, start with like a normal standard workflow where an AI agent is following an workflow and doing the steps with human in the loop. Then try to think, can I make my human in the can I eliminate my human in the loop and the workflow that works accordingly? After that, can I make my workflow as a part of an autonomous agent? So you need to think your make your brain while you are developing things, treating humans as a verifier rather than humans as a core part of the system. When you start thinking like that, automatically your new ideas and new things will start coming into your mind, which will really help in building your own stuffs. Okay, is any one of you interested in research or area like on the core architecture of LLMs like transformer or anything? Maybe just put a yes or no. Otherwise, because I want to share maybe 2 3 things there which are the hottest areas you need to look for in that thing in the 2026. Okay, I see Kajal has said yes. So definitely look for the gated attention network. Okay. So gated attention is something which is really a new paradigm. Every large here and there large language model is using gated attention now. Okay. So I think that will be a lot more research area. Create, understand your own, create, I not create, sorry, understand how LLM inferencing works, right? How the next token is predicted, because that is pretty important. Like you will understand a lot of things, because at the end of the day, LLM is just like an probability. It coming up with the best token. So suppose like my name is, when I pass this sentence to the LLM, it comes up with the best probability thing which is possible there. Okay, and obviously prompt engineering. I know there is a definite session was on prompt engineering, so I guess guys have learned a lot. But yeah, prompt engineering is something. Please learn the best tactics. Don't think prompt engineering as a simple English. Treat prompt engineering as a scientific way to write good production ready systems, because it's very important to write good prompts. Otherwise, it's not going to work well. And why I am saying this, because LLMs are now getting much better at instruction following. So if you don't write your prompts to the point, LLMs are not able to understand what instructions you need the LLMs to follow. So it's very important for you to understand on prompt engineering. Okay, then I would say like function calling. Yeah, to go to any OpenAI, Gemini, or open source resources like Olama, run some servers, try to use function calling on your create your project on function calling. That will be really upskill you in the state of the art thing that is happening. The second, I think, the last but not the least, I would say, like, be curious, try to know as much as possible the new things, and try to find a niche which you love to work. Because LLM itself is such a big field, there are so many areas. Like, there is an inference layer, there is a training layer, there is a memory layer, there is an application layer, and then there is la software development layer also. So try to find out which area is help you a lot. So there is something, a concept called T-safe developer. Okay, I don't believe T-safe developer that much. T-safe developer means like you are expert in one area, other areas you know are broad. What I follow is called a sigmoid step developer. What is a sigmoid step developer? So let me show you like how sigmoid looks, right? So I think sigmoid curve. Uh, wait, Fourier, Fourier, Fourier. Yeah. So like this. Okay. So just take this as inverted. Don't take it as a in like. So this, suppose you are excellent in uh, agentic AI, agentic system. So this is your one where you are excellent skills. Now TCEP says know the other things on a upper level, but I say do not know the things on the upper level. Try to know the things a bit better. Like, go into deep. You may not need to be know deeper than the agentic AI stuff, but still go a bit deeper. At least you are better than maybe 50% of the audience who are listening to you, or 50% of the peers who will be working with you. Since you have been following this trajectory, you will see the more you become better at agentic AI, you will become more better at this also. Since you have trained your brain in that way, where you can actually work on multiple things. You need to be a multi-talented guy to be very successful in this era, because otherwise, people having a single skill can be replaced by AI. But if you have a domain knowledge plus business knowledge, yeah, you have a long career to go. No one is going to replace you. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. I did not had much on this thing. I wanted to highlight some of these areas for you guys to more explore, come up with questions. I am in the Discord. Ask me questions there. Okay. And keep you there up to date on how you can integrate MCPs on your editors to do more awesome things. Okay. Any questions, anything? I think this now the session is open for question answering only. So let's discuss. You can put your questions in the chat. Okay, Mitesh. I see you have said you have used LLM. Which LLM you have used? Olama. Okay. Where you want to deploy it? In like for in your system only for experiment purposes, or in your company? Where you want to deploy it? In cloud? Okay, so if you want to deploy a Olama thing in your cloud, you can use so the model you can deploy either using Amazon SageMaker. Okay, where you can deploy, they provide inference endpoints to deploy things. Now, if you do not want to deploy in Amazon SageMaker, if you want to control everything on your own, you can create a GPU server in AWS only, but and install everything. But point to be noted here, it will be expensive. So I hope the company who will be, they have a scalable usage that will circumface the cost you want to incur while deploying Olama in a GPU based computer. Now, if you want to try it locally, yeah, you can just try install the system locally and try out things for Olama. So, though I would also suggest look for VLLM also, because I have been using VLLM for a long time to deploying large language models for production in enterprises, because I worked with multiple companies on that and they really someone's need this. So I do like that. Okay. Okay, so Rasdev says Grok. I did not get the question on Grok. Any particular question on that? Okay. Okay. Any questions on MCPs or anything? Happy to take. Oh, okay. The open source Grok model no lama locally. Yeah, it's pretty nice. My question is why it is as mentioned as UI for what for AI tools. Hmm. So UI for AI tools, I think maybe a bit confusing, but I think you can think of like how that's why I showed the generative UI. Okay, so how you can actually create UI using AI tools because soft software development is already happening. UX is already a part of that. So have you heard of V0, where you can actually create UX using AI tools? So definitely try out V0 and other one. I think V0 is the most famous one which I use. You can ask even in Claude you can ask to like create a website for you. It will create a website live for you. So it's more on like understanding how you can create you better UX using AI tools. Rajdev has a question: can we make custom MCPs? Yep, definitely. So use this link. I'm providing a link to create custom MCP. It's called Fast MCP. It's analogous to Fast API. Okay, and let me post it in the chat. This is a pretty standard way of creating, and I would say like definitely you should create your own MCP. Try to connect with Cloud Code or Windsurf and see how it is working. I think that would be a pretty awesome project, starting project on these things. So just a quick thing, like have you guys did the XML based prompting when you guys had the prompting session? Okay, so let me share something to you guys. Okay, so I can't share my prompts because those are properly for the company I'm working. But let's take some open source examples, maybe if that's possible. Okay, let me share my screen again. And why I'm sharing this because I really want you guys to follow these standards when you do start writing prompts. So this one I do just open the example from OpenAI. Okay, and you see here always try to use XML tags when you are creating your prompts. How that prompt would look like? So let me just send online text editor. I'll just open a notepad here. So always try to create like this. Like suppose you're doing a persona. Okay, write a persona here. I am a you are a software developer. Okay, now close the tag since you're done. Okay, then write instructions. Follow the instructions. No, Rajdeep, XML prompting is now being used everywhere. This is the best coding prompting practice suggested by both Claude, Gemini, and every company. Okay, then you can do guidelines here. I think you guys get the point, like on how you can structure your prompt. Then input. So this is where your input would come. Then your output, like where how the output would look like. Okay. See, like this is how, and when you start doing prompts like this, you will get prompts are more like an program, not like a simple English, because it's so structured and so nicely written. Okay, so please, I would say like always think of writing prompts in the XML tags. Awesome. Cool. Any more questions? Anything you want to discuss? Any? I think we can take another few questions. Okay. Yeah, Kajal, absolutely. I am in Discord. Feel free to reach out to me to my in my Discord. Yep. Anyways, any day, any night. Also, I am hiring for multiple roles in some of the work I am doing. If you are looking for internship or part time or a full time role, please feel free to reach out to me in Discord also or in LinkedIn. So I'm giving my LinkedIn profile here. Feel reach out to me. What kind of roles? The roles are mostly full stack AI engineer roles where you would be coding AI applications and obviously state of the art things because I've been working on state of the art stuff. And my work is mostly around how can I use recent techniques like the best techniques to put things into production. So those are the main roles that will be there. This is my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to connect with me if you're looking for internship opportunities. Awesome. I think then that's it. It was great talking to all of you, and it was a nice session. I think we were all done a bit early, so it's good. I would get you guys have your lunch this time.
Okay, sir, thank you so much. If you want to share any resource, you can share it on our Discord channel.
Yep, absolutely. I say around discussion. Thanks, Steve, for coordinating this event. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the session, sir.
Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye. All right, everyone. As of now, we don't have any live sessions, but that doesn't mean the fun stops here. From 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., we'll be shifting into some exciting Discord activities. So make sure you're active on a Discord. We have two activities lined up. The first activity is from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. That is called Meme Chain Challenge. And the second activity is scheduled from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. That is Team Sync. So stay tuned. And for now, we come to the end of our live sessions for the day 6 of Hackspace. Today was filled with learning, insights, and meaningful discussions. A big thank you to all our mentors, speakers, and participants for making day 6 engaging and impactful. Your curiosity, energy, and interaction is what makes Hackspace special. While our live sessions are ending for today, the engagement continues on Discord. So don't forget to go join us on Discord at 2 p.m. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you soon tomorrow with more exciting sessions. Goodbye and stay tuned.